So today we're going to be putting together a drawline base unit. The first thing to do will be open the box. So here we've got all the composite parts. We've got the two sides, the base, the back, and the two top rail bars. We also have the frame, the drawer front, the door, and the drawer accessories and the drawer runners. So to start putting the carcass together, the first thing to notice would be there's a shiny side and a not shiny side. The shiny side is obviously the part that goes on the inside, so the unvarnished will be on the outside. So here we've got one of the sides and the base, and I'm going to start there, making sure we've got this groove in line with each other. And that will pop together. You'll then be able to see that we've pre-marked where to put the screws. So it should be fairly simple to do. Now I'm just going to pop a couple of screws in. Just making sure that it's got a nice firm grip. And then we're going to do exactly the same, working my way around. So what we need next would be the back, which is this part. Again, the varnish side on the in. And again, where it's pre-marked, you would drill to attach. And then we've got two top rails. One on the back will be plain, the other one will be pocket screwed. The pocket screw goes on the front to attach the frame to. So that one at the moment, pop in there, and then this one. Again, on this one, make sure you've got the varnish side on the inside. Follow around, putting in screws as marked. Now that's done, we want to get the other side on. It will only fit one way. Everything should line up nicely. Screwing everything in place in the pre-marked positions. So now we've got the carcass, the next step is to attach the shelf pegs. Typically we would just put them in the middle for now, they screw in. We're now going to fit the carcass onto the frame. So I've laid the frame face down. You can see the groove. That's where the groove along here will actually slot in on both sides and the bottom. You will feel it click into place. Before you tighten it, one very important thing to do is to make sure that the top is going to be level with the carcass, because ultimately the worktop is going to sit on this, and that needs to be level to have a good worktop. We're then going to work around all of the pocket screws just to touch the frame. And you'll feel it tightening up as you do it. Again, making sure you've got a good join there. Next, we're attaching the legs to the carcass, and what we want to do is basically place them out. The little feet here will just touch onto the side, and these two can go at the back. The front two are a little bit more accurate than you need to be, especially if you're going to have what we would call the set back plinth with the legs visible on the front. If you're going to be putting skirting on the front, the positioning of these legs doesn't actually matter because you wouldn't be using the plinth clips. So what we would do is get your plinth, put it in front of the legs, just add a little bit of a packer either side just to bring them out and give you a little bit of room, and then position them, and then we would screw them in place. Once they're all screwed in, the legs will just slot in, give them a little twist to tighten them up, and you can twist them out to whatever height you might need. So here we have almost the finished carcass. The last thing to do, but we'll take it out in a second, would be to slide in the shelf. And again, that can be a position to whatever height you might want. The next part are the drawer runners. So here we've got a standard set of drawer runners. And the clips. So the first thing you need to do on these is there's a plastic protective part on here that just slides off and it actually gets thrown away. And then bring the carcass round. I found it's easiest to do it on its side. If you look at them, you'll see whether they slide forward or backwards. So this one would be for this drawer runner. We have pre-marked on the carcassing where to actually screw it, and what you would do is position the bottom hole onto that, and there we have the drawer runners attached. Just check that they're not going to hit the frame as they come out, and that they go back quite nicely. The next thing to do is actually to put the drawer box in. Just basically just clip in. There we go. And that is your oak dovetail drawer box made by yourself. The next part to do is actually to attach the drawer front. So here we've got the drawer front. That would literally go in there. But what you want to do is make sure that you've got an even gap all the way around. So I'm going to use a couple of little packers. So I've packed this out so it's square, and the next thing I will do would be just to pop a screw in through here, make sure it's then square again, and just put another couple of screws in, one either end, to hold the drawer front in place. So now that I've done that, that's nicely lined up. The drawers do have 4D movement, so you can move them in, out, up and down very easily with the little rollers just underneath here. But you do that once you've actually fitted it all in place in the kitchen. So just double check that's lovely. Now we'll get on with the door. So here we are, about to put the door on. The doors will come pre-rebated, ready for your hinges, and again that can just be twisted on the left or the right depending on which side you would want your hinge and your handle. So here we have our finished cabinet. One little tip is to put some tape on just on the drawers, just until you actually need to put the handles on, and again on the doors, ready to be fitted and painted. If there are any nicks or dents or anything, because this is primed, it can be filled and sanded relatively easily before you actually do your top coats.